A very good evening to you, my beautiful people out there. Um, it's a wonderful day. It's 11:17 p.m. my time, and this is about the time I do my night devotion and using my daily devotion, the one I've been using lately. It's Open Heavens, volume 22, 2022 by Pastor E.A. Adeboye. And my devotion this night really got to my heart because I think it's one of the things that many people have gotten wrong. We live in a generation where people are so prideful. People are so prideful. People take glory. They boast in what they've achieved, the things they have, forgetting to give thanks or give honor to God who made this possible. So this devotion really got me, and I just couldn't help but share it. And so I'm just going to read through the devotion, and we'll just take it up from there. One of the ways to know true Christians is by what he or she says. When I see Christians talk about what they want to do or what they have done without any reference to the grace of God, I wonder how strong their relationship with God is. When John 15:5 says, "For without me you can do nothing." How many of you realize that without God we can actually do nothing? It is God who makes it is God who makes our everything that we think we do possible. Grace is a gift from God that can also be completely described as God's help. You need to understand that without grace, God's help, you can do nothing. Even waking up in the morning is by the grace of God. Waking up in the morning is by the grace of God. You will therefore be taking the grace of God for granted when you begin to boast about the things you have done or that you plan to do without acknowledging the grace of God, which empowers you to do these things. In Luke 12:16, Jesus told the story of a rich man who gathered a great harvest. In all that this man said, he did not acknowledge God who made the harvest possible. Don't many of us do that? We do. At the end of the day, all his boasting came to nothing because he died that very night. Pastor E.A. Adeboye goes on to say, "Beloved, please don't take God's grace for granted. It is only by his grace that you are alive today. It is only by his grace that you are where you are today. What you are and what you have, it does not matter how intelligent, strong, or connected you are. If God were to withdraw his grace from you, you would soon realize that you can do nothing without him." Now, just bring the verse that says, Psalms 127 verse 1. It says, "Except the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain. Except the Lord keeps the city, the watchman watcheth in vain." God's words are just true and they are just beautiful. Very beautiful. we see that human efforts without God's grace cannot yield results from that verse. Paul can plant, Apollos can water, but the increase only comes from God. So then, neither is he that planted anything, neither he that watereth, but God that giveth the increase. 1 Corinthians 3:7. When you want to talk about something you did, or what you have achieved, or something that has happened, always say, I did so and so by the grace of God. When talking about something you plan to do, I will do so and so by the grace of God. Always acknowledge the grace of God in all that you do and in all that you plan to do. I just really wanted to share this today. It doesn't matter what we have. It doesn't matter what we do. What matters is it is God that gives us the power to do this. The fact that you can actually sit down and eat and have a meal and swallow and enjoy it and have a cup of water and you drink from it and you feel satisfied and you say, it's God's grace that made it possible. I mean, there are many people out there who are not able to do this simple thing, it may seem. There are some people lying out there in the hospital. They have to feed them through certain pipes or, however the doctors do it. So I just want to encourage us today from this devotion, we've been able to learn that it is very important that we always acknowledge God, acknowledge His grace in every endeavor, in everything that we do, plan to do, or we are doing. Let's give God His due, what is due Him. Let's not take God's glory. Let's not feel it's by our own strength or by our own power. I mean, what power do we really have? What power do we really have? Whatever it is you think you have, when you get sick and you are in need of something, that is when you actually really know that life is really nothing without God. Life is nothing without God. So my brothers and sisters out there watching this video, if you don't have Christ, please, you need to accept Christ into your heart, because at the end of the day, life is empty without Him. Completely empty without Him. In the world that we live in today, you need God to be able to journey through this world, to be able to have the sanity that you need to live in a world like this. We live in a very terrible world, and terrible times. Terrible things are happening. And people are just there sailing and sailing and sailing and sailing. I wonder how they're able to do it without God. And they think it's by their strength that they're doing it. Love God. Acknowledge Him for all that He does. Have a good night, my people. God bless you all.